His name is Travis Larson, an activist, a watchdog, a citizen with a camera and a spine. On January 14, 2022, in Hinckley, Minnesota, Travis walked onto public property, the municipal complex that houses City Hall and the Pine County Sheriff's Office, to conduct a constitutionally protected audit. His intent? To observe, to document, to request public records. His crime? None. But that didn't stop Deputy Carl Hawkinson. What began as a peaceful exercise of First Amendment rights turned instantly unlawful. Hawkinson approached, blocked his movement, grabbed at his wrist, and Travis recoiled. No warrant, no probable cause, no articulable suspicion of a crime, just ego, just force. That's not law enforcement. That's force without law. Travis remained calm, lawful, direct. He asked if he was being detained. Hawkinson said yes, and just like that, the Constitution was suspended. Minnesota's Data Practices Act was misquoted. The Fourth Amendment was ignored. A peaceful citizen was unlawfully detained by a man with a badge, a gun, and no legal justification. Travis didn't scream. He didn't riot. He posted the video. Then he walked into the sheriff's office, respectfully, and told the man in charge what had happened. He believed that when you showed the system the truth, it would respond with accountability. What you're about to see is the system's answer to that belief.
While I was doing that, Deputy Hawkinson got out of his cruiser and came up to me. Sorry, still trying to get used to using this thing. Anyways, while we were briefly, consensual encounter, he asked me a couple questions about how I am, what am I doing, why I'm doing it, and I was curt, dismissive. And then I noticed his CAD book was open and went over, and well, I wanted to show that he wasn't following the state law. And I wanted evidence that he wasn't following the proper procedures. And when I put my camera up to his window, the same contraption you see right here, he grabbed my hand and pushed my body just like this away. He then subsequently detained me officially. So, brought all this to Sergeant Matson, and he told me he was going to bring this to your attention. Do you have any official comment?
No.
Will there be an investigation?
I guess I need to know details on when it happened and your name and that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So if you file a complaint.
I'm filing one right now.
Okay. To start with that, you have to go to dispatch.
Okay.
Call them and get a number generated, get your information in, and then.
So you are the county sheriff, though.
I am.
And I cannot complain about the
Well, you can
unlawful.
complain all you want, but if you want a call for service.
I don't need a call for service. I just want to file a complaint.
File a complaint, then you need to go through dispatch.
What if
They'll always yell at me if I don't.
That was Sheriff Jeff Nothing to See Here Nelson, the highest-ranking law enforcement officer in Pine County, presented with a calm, lawful, first-hand report of rights violations by one of his deputies, and he responded with a shrug. He didn't ask for the video. He didn't take notes. He didn't ask a single meaningful question, because he already knew what he was going to do. Nothing. Not investigate, not review, not refer. Just stare at a man demanding accountability and hide behind polite disinterest. Minnesota law doesn't grant sheriffs the luxury of indifference. When someone alleges unlawful detainment, especially by an armed officer, it triggers obligations. Jeff, Nothing to See Here Nelson, had the badge. He had the authority. And in that moment, he also had a choice. He could investigate, he could recuse and refer, he could uphold the law. He chose none of those things, and that wasn't neglect. That was design. That was Pine County's first official response to truth, a professional dodge, a bureaucratic shrug, a man doing everything except his job. So Travis escalated logically, lawfully. This wasn't a rant. It wasn't a threat. It was a grievance. Structured, factual, citing laws, damages, and named officials. It was paired with a statement of probable cause, describing in clear legal terms why Deputy Carl Hawkinson's conduct may have crossed into criminal territory. This wasn't theater. This was the next step in the chain of redress. Not social media, not protest. Paper. Process. Proof. And how did the county respond? They responded with a threat, dressed as a letter, from the desk of County Attorney Reese Frederickson, signed on letterhead. A message meant not to inform, but to intimidate. He didn't say, "We've received your grievance and we're investigating." He didn't say, "These are serious allegations and we will follow up." He said, "Be careful." He cited criminal statutes out of context. He referenced penalties. He insinuated prosecution, not for what was done, but for reporting it. That was never about law. It was about fear. And when that didn't work, they escalated again. Pine County filed a harassment restraining order, ex parte, without notice, without a hearing. They claimed that protest was harassment, that criticism was threatening, that free speech was dangerous. They quoted comments made by others. They cited Travis's videos. They turned public accountability into a criminal accusation. That HRO wasn't for protection. It was for punishment. It barred him from government buildings. It restricted his movements. It silenced his speech. Legally, deliberately, and under color of law. And the worst part? It worked. For a while. Travis complied with the order. He took down the video. He stopped protesting. He obeyed every restriction. Not because he was guilty, but because he respects the law, even when it doesn't respect him. But that didn't mean he forgot. For months, maybe even years, the letter, the threats, the retaliation sat in the back of his mind like a splinter. Not loud, not urgent, just enough to make him question whether he had been wrong to walk away or whether they had been wrong to stop him. And then the realization hit. He had never filed the complaints, not because he didn't want to, because they scared him out of doing it. That letter worked once. It would not work again. Because when he went back through the statutes, through every line Reese Frederickson cited, it became clear. For those laws to apply, he would have had to be lying. And Travis wasn't lying. He had video. He had timestamps. He had facts. And he had the receipts. So he regrouped, he drafted the complaint with precision, he named names, cited statutes, provided timelines, and he filed it, officially, against Deputy Carl Hawkinson, against County Attorney Reese Frederickson. The formal complaint was in, the law was cited, the evidence was attached, it was submitted under penalty of perjury. And what came back? One memo. No investigative file, no case notes, no interviews, no referrals. Just one page, typed by the very man who was asked to hold his own department accountable. And when Travis filed a FOIA request to see what else existed, that memo was it. No investigative log, no internal communications, no follow-up documentation. According to the records, that was the entire official response. We looked at ourselves. We found nothing wrong. Thank you for your concern. That wasn't oversight. That was containment. The sheriff ignored it. The county attorney retaliated. And the system closed ranks. So Travis made the offer. He told Sheriff Jeff, "Nothing to see here. Nelson, face to face, right after the incident. Clean your house." The sheriff didn't act. So Travis did something else. He started building a case. Not alone, with help. From something that never forgets, never sleeps, and has no patience left for government doublespeak. And together, we started documenting everything. Not for a Facebook post, for court. That's the next chapter. We're done asking questions. In the next video, you'll see what happens when silence gets filed against, how Minnesota law allows a private citizen to file criminal charges, and how every act of intimidation, every denial, every shrug becomes admissible. The next video doesn't tell the story. It files it. And to the officials of Pine County still pretending not to watch, keep pretending. The surprise is coming. This was phase 1. The warning is over.